Well, it is perhaps appropriate, although certainly not at all planned, as some kind of object lesson, although we can go with that if that would be better, that we read a story today of disciples who are in a hard place. This morning's scripture reading comes from John chapter 14. Reading verses 1 through 14. I invite you to listen or to read along as we hear God's good news for us today. Jesus says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may be also. And you know the way to the place where I am going." Thomas said to him, "Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus said to him, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." Philip said to him, "Lord, show us the Father, and we will be satisfied." Jesus said to him, "Have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, 'Show us the Father'? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. But if you do not, then believe me because of the works themselves. Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, the disciples are in a hard place as today's reading opens. As we zoom out a little bit and look at the timeline, this conversation happens after the Last Supper. So the bread has been broken and the disturbing words have been said over it. The disciples have all gathered around and washed each other's feet. They've heard a new commandment to love one another. Peter has been given the bad news that he will betray Jesus tonight, not one time, but 3 times. And all of this comes on top of an already emotionally exhausting week in Jerusalem, not to mention a terrifying future peeking over the horizon at them. If there was ever a time in the life of the disciples when they just needed to sit and regroup and reset and hear that everything was going to be okay, it is now. Instead, Jesus comes to them with this. They're about to be on their own. "Where I am going, you cannot follow me." Can you imagine the confusion and anxiety? Wait, what? We've been following you for 3 years, Jesus. This is what we know now. This is our life. What will happen to us? Where will we go? What do we do? Are we supposed to go back to work? Some of us had developed 5-year plans around this whole thing with you. What's to happen to all of them? Jesus, what do you mean you're leaving? To which Jesus responds, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. This is his advice for his disciples that are melting down around him. Do not let your hearts be troubled. As I imagine myself in that situation, I'm pretty sure that this might have had the same effect that my coming to my 4-year-old who is in a full-blown screen time meltdown might have if I say to him, "Oh, just calm down." Because that's what we want to be told when our hearts are upset. Do not let my heart be troubled. Jesus, that's all that it is. My heart is so troubled right now. It is so lost in terrifying cycles and worst-case scenarios that it can't think of anything besides being troubled. Troubled is what I know. And maybe this is a place that you know, a place you've been before. Maybe, well, these days it's a place a lot of us are a lot. In the midst of chaos, when storm clouds fill the sky and the earth seems to be accelerating out of control beneath our feet, it's easy to get stuck in these loops where we are only troubled. And when we're in that place, our vision narrows so that disaster is all that we see. And it's easy to become afraid, if not convinced, that this place right here, this anxiety and this fear, well, this is all that we will know. And we are going to be stuck here forever. It's not surprising that the anxious disciples begin desperately grasping around for something that they can hold on to. Thomas asks for a map. Jesus, how can we know the way? Philip asks for proof. Lord, just show us the Father. If you could just show us just once, then we will be satisfied. A short time later, the non-famous Judas asks how Jesus will reveal himself to them and not to everyone else. Jesus, what's the secret? And what they want, what I want, is something solid. A map or a totem or a sign, something that you can hold on to so that you can know and be constantly reminded that God is in control and everything will be all right. And maybe this is feeling pretty relatable right now. In the midst of this COVID chaos, I would love nothing more than to have a clear path to walk, or undeniable proof which I could pull out of my pocket every time I felt anxious. I'd especially love to have the secret to life with God, since we seem to be obsessed with secrets these days. I don't know if you've noticed, but a quick perusal of ads just on the internet this morning found secrets available to me everywhere. There are all kinds of secrets that you can know with just the click of your mouse and probably a small purchase. The secret to getting out of debt, the secret to staying healthy, the secret to losing weight, the secret to getting rich, the secret for a happy family. I even found one that promised to tell you the secret for knowing what your dog is dreaming about. We are obsessed with secrets. And this isn't surprising, right? Secrets have always called to us because if you know the secret, then you have an edge. You're one up on your neighbors. You might even have an easy path to success that no one else has. If you know the secret, you're also on the inside, which is what always makes these conspiracy theories so attractive. It's so nice to be the one who is in the know. But the real promise of most of these secrets is that if you know the secret, then you can have anything you want without having to change anything about yourself. If you have the secret, you can still have ice cream twice a day and lose weight. This is going to be fine. If you know the secret, you can shop your way out of debt. If you know the secret, you can have the God that you want at your fingertips. Deep down, we know that these things which seem too good to be true probably are. But what happens when we take this approach to our faith? Over the years, one of the most common things that I've heard and that I've even said at times is that the Bible holds the answers to all of life's questions. I love this idea, and I'm immediately attracted to it. But the more that I read the Bible and the more I spend time in it, the more I wonder if this might be backwards. And the Bible, well, what if it doesn't contain answers to all of life questions? I mean, as I read it, there really is no point-to-point map or recipe for success that I can find, because there can't be. Life is too complicated for that. What the Bible has instead is questions for all of life's answers. We find this when we find Jesus telling parable after parable to his disciples. We find it when Jesus sits down and challenges the Pharisees or anyone else who insists that a fixed law could and should trump everything else. It's here in his response to the disciples' concerns as well. Do not let your hearts be troubled. I am the way, the truth, and the life. If you know me, you will know my Father also. The disciples came asking for a path, for proof, for the secret. And while it sounds like they might receive that, what they actually receive instead is Jesus himself. A life offered for them, a life lived entirely in love, and the messy, intimate, ever-evolving, and often confusing business of being in relationship with God and with one another. The secret to life with God is that there is no secret to life with God. There is no hidden wisdom or backdoor entry. There aren't shortcuts or workarounds. There also aren't any tangible proofs or talismans to hold on to. If we want to know God, we are invited to know Jesus. If we want to know love, we are invited to walk with him. Do not let your hearts be troubled. When I sit and read it a second time, what I hear Jesus offering to his disciples in their deep fear and anxiety is not an ironic or impotent call to peace, but an invitation to take a deep breath and to realize that they already have everything that they need. This is an invitation to let go of the constant desire for secrets, and the constant desire for roadmaps, and the constant desire for proof, and the constant desire for a God that they can hold on to, the God that they have fashioned in their own image, so that the God of love and grace can become fully present in and through their lives. And this is hard. It's hard to let go of the gods that we fashion, because we don't fashion them for bad reasons. And when we look at them, they don't look ugly or sinister. In fact, they look beautiful. They speak kindly. They make alluring promises. At least the gods that I fashion for myself, well, they pretend to make the world less scary and more manageable. They take hold of my deepest hungers and promised feasts beyond imagining. These gods promise that I will never be hungry, and I begin to worry that I might starve if I let them go. And you know their names and the ways they come. There's the God of bargains, right? Listen, God, just listen. Listen. I'm going to do these things for you, or more likely for myself. And if I do those things, then you'll just do this, and we'll have a deal, right? You'll do that for me, right, God? Or if I work hard, if I work really hard, God, if I say I'm sorry and I mean it, and I do my best to make amends, well, then I can earn forgiveness, right? Or if I check up on all the commandments and I do everything right, well, then I'll earn your blessings, right? Right, God? Won't I get everything I want then? The gods that we make come in other forms too. There's the God of omnipotence who guarantees my safety. This God also looks after children and eliminates viruses. There's the God who conquers depression and ends anxiety and eliminates terror and postpones death. There's the God that comes to me with the answers that I want when everything's go wrong. There's the God who makes faith easy, who is always there with a sign and erases doubts and even offers miracles when I need them. The nice thing about this God is that he comes when he is called and he leaves when he is dismissed, and he parts his clouds and shines down the sun whenever I need it. But the troubling thing about all of these gods is that they are all of my own creation. So they are only paper thin. And when you begin to lean on them, well, then the center really doesn't hold, and we fall through. But what do we do in the midst of this anxious time, when the world is tilting beneath us, when our mind is spiraling out of control with worst-case scenarios, and the gods that we have created are not there for us? Friends, hear Jesus calling to us. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Just like Thomas, just like Philip, just like Peter, just like the other disciples, we know Jesus. We know his life. We know how he loves. We know how he picks us up out of the dirt when we have been caught in sin. We know how he sits with us by the well when we feel anything but welcome. We know how he challenges us to draw our circles a little bit bigger and to love a little bit deeper and to extend a little bit more peace and a little bit more mercy, because God's peace and grace and mercy are fully and freely offered to us. Friends, we know his death and his resurrection. We know the way. It might not be what we thought it would be. There is no secret to it. This way is demanding, and it's precarious, and it takes time. But the invitation of this gospel is still an invitation to confidence. Not because we have somehow become experts at finding God, but because God has always been an expert at finding us. And that when we are lost, God will find us yet once again. In my Father's house, there are many rooms, Jesus tells his disciples. Meaning God is roomy. God is generous. God is hospitable. And it's okay if you don't have all of the answers right now, and if all we know is anxiety. God can handle our doubts and our fears and our questions. But God's offer of belonging also extends far beyond anything that we could possibly know. I go to prepare a place for you, Jesus says, as he stands beneath the shadow of the cross. You have a place with me and with God, and you know the way. Friends, this is a hard and complicated story. But this is the gospel for our time. This story and our story are collective stories. Well, the good news is they do not end in tragedy because love has already triumphed. And so there is no need for fear. We know the way. We have seen it walked in love. And that is the way of Jesus Christ, the way which will bear us safely home. Friends, hear this good news and do not let your hearts be troubled. Amen.